call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next item is approval of the agenda. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add or alter on the agenda?
If there's no additions, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. The next item is approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of Tuesday, March 5th.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the minutes for March 5th as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. The next item is financial report. Colleen?
Okay, let me get to that.
Want mine?
No, I've got mine here. You've got it buried under 40 tons of paper. The financial report for April. We began the month with $197,858.44. We took in receipts of $87,770.05, and we made disbursements in the amount of $35,207.99, leaving us with an ending balance in the general fund of $250,420.50.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the financial report as submitted.
Support.
Moved and supported to accept the financial report as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Moving on, number 1, correspondence. We have a couple items tonight. First on is A, Richmond Community Schools informational session on the millage, and we have you're still the president of the school board, right?
Yes, I
We
am.
have the president of the Richmond Community School Boards, Margaret Telto, and Mr. Rendell, a member of the Richmond Community School Boards.
Yep.
And we're going to turn it over to you, Margaret.
Okay. Rob's going to pass out some information. Good? Okay. Yeah, just give one to everybody in the audience. We're just here tonight. We are going around to different townships, senior citizen organizations, just getting our message out that we have our bond proposal coming up on May 7th. And just to kind of give you an overview of what it is. It is a $12 million bond proposal, or 2.2 mils, and it is basically set up into 3 areas. And we are calling it our basic bond proposal. The board has worked very hard in the last year of looking into what do we absolutely have to move into the future. No excessive items, just basic needs. And one of our needs is to be able to upgrade technology. The infrastructure at the high school is old, and the entire district is old. And we are doing more things with technology. We had last year input smart boards into the classrooms at the elementaries. Every classroom at the elementary has a smart board. There are some teachers at the high school that are using smart board technology, and teachers that are just trying to do basic technology stuff with students. We're having difficulty because of our infrastructure. So we are looking to update that, and in that there is a movement, if you've been reading in the newspapers, districts surrounding us, providing students with individual technology, whether it be iPads, one-on-one laptops, and that is what we are proposing to do. We are proposing every K2 classroom will have 6 laptops and 6 laptop computers. And grades 3 through 12, every student will have some kind of computing apparatus, whether it be a laptop or an iPad. We are in the process of looking at what's going to be our best bang for our buck, really. But that's what we're looking to do. And if you don't know, but the state is making lots of changes constantly with curriculum. And in the 2015 school year, all students will be required to be taking tests online. The state required tests. So we have to get ourselves upgraded technologically so that when that time comes, our students are able to take those tests. We are looking to add science classrooms and labs at the high school. And if Joe, I know, is a Richmond High School grad, the labs look exactly as they did when you and I were there. Yeah, there's not been any updating. So we are looking to improve on that and allow our students the ability to have some better opportunities in science labs than what we have offered for them right now. And we are also going to do science labs at the middle school. We don't have the ability for science labs at the high school, so we are going to be updating those. We're going to be purchasing band instruments, improving the playground at the elementary, and installing a new running track at the high school. And the reason for the track at the high school is that the track is, what would the word, Rob, be? Completely falling apart. It's been deemed unsafe. We tried to do some repair work on it last summer, and we were told that repairing was not an option. It needs to be replaced, so that's why we're looking into doing that. We are looking into doing several upgrades throughout our buildings. More efficient heating units that will obviously save us money, down the road. At the elementary school, the back part of the school is the newer addition, new stuff. We're not talking about doing anything back there. We're talking about in the front of the school. Some of those doors and windows are original doors and windows, so we're looking to upgrade those as well as at the other buildings too. We are also going to be instituting new security at all of our doors. We are going to institute a program where every employee has a card, so you put the card into, and that way we will be able to greater track who comes in and out of our buildings, and the way to get access is through these cards. So that's the gist. It's basic, that's the word that we're saying. It's basic. We're not asking for the moon, as maybe sometimes has been done before. This board has worked really hard to get it basic. These are definite needs that we have to move into the future and to allow our kids to be able to compete with other districts, the surrounding districts that maybe offer some things that we haven't been able to offer. And now with the upgrades, especially in the science labs, our hope is that those students might come back, or they won't choose to go down the road somewhere else because we're updating and bringing ourselves into the future. So that's pretty much it. We just wanted the TV camera to see us and just to get the information out, and looking for support for Richmond School District, Casco Township voters.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, when you buy these computers and that, are they going to be, they could go outdated.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way that they're going to be updated
Yes.
or replaced, or?
Yes, thanks, Joe. The bond is going to be in 2 series, and those we're also going to purchase school buses. So those will be paid off and be renewed 5 years. Is it, Rob? I think in 5 years. So yes, there is the plan in place to make sure that they don't go so outdated that we are able to replenish as we go along.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a couple. You got some more? Go ahead.
Yeah, how many buses you buying?
5 buses. And our buses are, the reason we're doing 5, our buses are at the end of their life cycle. We're kind of hanging on, you know, doing repairs here and there, but these, we need them because they're getting, their life is about over.
I had a couple questions for you, Margaret. The new track, is it going to be hard surface? You know?
Oh, Bill, how did I know you would ask me that specific?
Or is it going to be the stuff they used last time?
You know, Bill, I can't, I'm sorry.
Because I remember the last time we put
Right, the main
Cadillac
issue,
of tracks.
right.
Yes, we did.
The main issue come with the undersurface of the track deteriorating and causing the upper surfaces to sink in and crack and ship due to the Michigan
Well, the
grounds.
last time they did it, they used the best of the best.
Right,
And after they had it in, they said, oh, by the way, you can't even drive a car over the track to get it on the infield,
right.
let alone anybody from Richmond being able to use it, roller skates or something in the summer. So my question was, are they going to hard surface, or are they staying with the softer surface that can't be used for anything else, basically?
Well,
Don't know?
I can't answer that
Okay.
question, but I will get you that answer. But what I will tell you is, if you remember the last time that was a big issue, that we portrayed that track was going to be able to be used by the community, people could come in, and then all of a sudden no one could, just what you're saying, and that caused us
Yeah, most people
a
are
lot
happy on the
of,
board.
exactly. So I can tell you that I have been saying all along, if this is what we have to do, we have to make sure that whatever it is, it could be usable for
Right.
our community. But I will get the exact answer for you.
Okay.
And that policy got lightened because they did end up doing Relay for Life events on there. Every year the Lions Club uses it for their walk to raise funds for eye research and stuff like that. So that policy has been laxed a little bit to allow different groups to use that track for different events.
And then, I'm right, I think that the maximum number of years the bonds may be outstanding is 14, is that correct?
Yes, this is 13. It will be paid off in 2026.
Right.
13 years.
And this is more informational, but anybody from Casco that's in the Richmond School District, if you want to vote, unfortunately you have to go to Columbus Township. So if you want an absentee ballot, we can get you an application, but we can't get you an absentee ballot. You have to go to Columbus.
Well, thanks, Phil, because that was going to be my question before I left. That so they can come here to get
An
the
application for an
application,
absentee.
but they have to go
They have
to
to go
Columbus
there.
and get it all taken
They
care
have
of.
to turn
Okay,
in the
I
application in Columbus.
all right. I thought they had to actually go to Columbus
Well, they
and
can
do
get there
everything.
too.
Yeah,
Okay.
they can, but
And
they
if
don't
they've,
have to.
if they've already been registered for absentee, they can call, and they should be able to just send them one. They shouldn't even have to go in. But they're running
They aren't
low on-
automatically sending them like a normal process. I know that much.
but
You know,
they're
normally
running-
if you're already on the list, it gets mailed out to you.
I liked it better when the school district guys ran your own election, you go to the middle, you go to
Oh,
the school vote.
absolutely, but it costs. You know, that's really what a lot of the change was. But you're right, it causes less confusion that way. You know, I'm a Casco Township resident, but I'm driving over to Columbus to vote, and you know, that's a message to try to get out to people, because a lot of people don't realize it, or they forget, you know, that no, you can't come here, you have to actually go to Columbus and vote.
Margaret will drive any Casco Township resident that would like to vote to Columbus that day.
There you go, Rob. Thank you. Absolutely. I'll pick them up here and drive them over. Thank you, Rob.
Is one of the science rooms you're gonna update as Mrs. Woods' chemistry?
Mrs. Wood's room is going to become something different.
Really?
The science labs are going to be built out. The area back by the auditorium, back in that section of the school, that's going to become a completely different
A
classroom.
lot of dedicated room to Virginia Wood.
Yeah, that we've talked about that, absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because it is, trust me, if you walked in there, you'd think, wow,
Yeah.
it's 1981 again. Trust me.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions? for Margaret or Rob. Yes, Mike?
Well, as far as the security system on the doors, cameras and special locks and the cars and everything, are we gonna be going for the top of the line stuff that has a proven track record? Or
Yes.
Are we, okay?
Yes.
With everything else that's going on?
Yeah, Mike, we've installed, last summer, we installed, like, you cannot enter the schools anymore. There's a camera and there's a buzzer and you're buzzed in, and there's a, like at the high school, you go in and it takes you right into the office,
Yeah.
instead of being able to go
Down
into
halls.
the actual
Oh,
building.
okay.
So we've already done that in all 3 of the buildings. This is just going to enhance
Right.
and make it even better.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Just a reminder that the election is May the 7th, and if you're a Casco resident, go to Columbus Township. And anybody else in the Richmond School District, I believe, goes to their own home township or city.
That's correct.
And we'd like to thank both representatives from the school board for taking time out of their busy day to come.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry, Bill. I
Yes,
have
sir.
one quick question, Margaret. This information you have on here, how could a resident obtain this information? Can they go online and get it?
It is not available on the website.
Okay.
It is, we've got some extra copies, we can leave them here. Any one of the schools you can get them in the administrative office. And there's also on the website, a resident has the ability to go on, we have a tax calculator where you can plunk in all your information and you will be able to find out exactly what it will cost you if the bond passes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
One more quick question.
sure.
Sure.
Casco residents, if their children go to East China, are they still allowed to vote?
No,
No.
only if you are
Yeah,
a
kids, yeah.
Casco Township Richmond School District
Not East China.
voter.
No, well, my son lives in Adair, on Adair Road,
Call
but
me,
his
I'll tell
kids
you
go to
what.
East
I'll-
China.
Yeah,
He
I
don't
think,
get to vote for Richmond.
He doesn't?
no,
Okay, that's
No.
fine.
Yeah,
No,
Okay.
if he's
No.
school's a choice or something like that, no,
No.
it has to be on your tax bill, what school
That is-
district your
yeah.
money's going to.
Okay.
And I can, and ask him to call me, and I
Yeah.
can give him that and
Yeah.
tell him what his taxes will be if the,
Well, he's
if
just
the millage
renting, but my
passes.
question was for the 2 girls, my 2 granddaughters, they go to East China School, but
Yeah.
they live in Casco.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have 3 school
We have
districts.
Yes.
3 school
Tinker
districts.
Bay,
East China and
East China
Richmond.
and Richmond.
Yeah.
They don't get to vote in this?
No.
Okay.
Only Richmond
This
School.
Richmond.
Only Richmond school
That's good.
Yep.
people.
Okay, anybody else have
If we
anything?
could, we'd come
I
out
know.
and support you. We believe in school
Okay,
life.
well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, Bill.
We
Appreciate
won't,
it.
if you want to leave, we won't film you walking out.
You won't? Thank
No.
you.
Because you probably have other places to go, working on them.
Were we the first
Feel free
township you approached?
feel free to stay.
What's that?
Were we the first township you
No.
approached? Oh, okay.
No, actually, you guys are the last one that we've done. We've done, I did Richmond Township, and I know the superintendent's been to Columbus, Lenox, and the senior center I know in the city of Richmond, but
Okay.
you're
I
our
talked
last
with the
township.
superintendent, it was over a month ago, and I invited her to the March meeting, but she already had 2 engagements that night.
Right.
Mhm.
So she said she would prefer to delay it till the April meeting, and I said that was fine.
Right.
So that's why you're here tonight.
Right, exactly, yeah. She's been talking to all different sports booster groups, different parent groups, just whoever wants to listen, we're talking to,
Okay.
so.
And we'd be more than welcome to come to any groups if you know
Yeah.
someone to, for question and answer type thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? And if someone's interested, who should they contact? The school?
They should contact the administration building, superintendent's office, 586-727-3565.
Good deal.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Bill.
Okay, moving on. Item B, Richmond Chamber of Commerce breakfast, which is going to be held April the 12th. Joe and I are going. As far as I know, that's it. This is just communication from the Chamber of Commerce. They're going to have quite a few people there for this. So,
This is the one where you gotta get up and talk about Casco Township, right?
well, I don't know. I guess they've got, what, 8 speakers?
That's the one that
Kelly normally goes, so last year she didn't go, I went, it was in the evening though.
Yeah, and I don't do 7:30 in the morning, so you're going this time.
So I don't know what 8 people are gonna say that's gonna keep everybody awake, but
Well, there you go.
we'll find out. Okay, moving on again. Item C. This is a yearly thing. It's the Emergency Services Breakfast. Y'all got an invitation. And that is gonna be held May the 3rd up at Four Lakes Golf Club. Good night, Mark.
Thank you. Good night.
And I guess you're on your own. If you feel free to go. It gives you a RSVP phone number, and you're more than welcome to go. Okay, moving on. No old business. Moving on, new business. Item A. St. Clair County Dispatch, First Responder Directive. Okay, about a year ago, County Dispatch was instructed to change first responder from EMS to Richmond Fire Department. And the last page on the thing I gave you tonight, Mr. Moore gave me these last Thursday, just shows you can follow the numbers under the medical runs. And where we had 6 one year, we go up to 48 for 8 months of, basically 8 months of the next year. And that's very costly. I talked with dispatch, I talked with Jeff White, I've been in contact with Mr. Moore, and because our contract is up with the fire department and we have to negotiate another one, I think it's in the best interest of Casco Township, money-wise and with nothing really detrimental, to go back to the way it was before. I have a sample letter in your packet, and it doesn't have a letterhead, but it will if you approve it. Basically directing Central Dispatch to go back to the way it was before.
Now, what was the change on this?
Well, if you look on the second page, on this, where the letter is, it's a communication from the Richmond Fire Department, basically changing. They asked that Columbus and Casco be changed and Richmond Township remain the same. And I met last year with Mr. Moore and Mr. Rendell, and in your update, I've given a copy to Mr. Moore, that my memory was that Mr. Rendell said there had been a change of state guidelines involving protocol that may result in more medical runs, but he had, at that point, he had not seen a large evidence of that fact. Okay. But I did not receive this letter, so I didn't know that the change was initiated by Richmond Fire Department. And I just got this last week from Central Dispatch. And like I say, I've talked to everybody, and the new fire chief is here tonight. And I called Mr. Moore last week after I got this letter, and I asked him if there was any reason, health-wise or safety-wise to our residents, that we shouldn't do this. And they may be able to give us some insight. So far, he hasn't given me other than the information. The one thing that makes this a little different is that because Richmond is a totally volunteer fire department, when they get a call, the ambulance is ready to roll and they have to come from home either directly to the incident or up to get the rescue truck. So on a number of occasions, the ambulance has already pretty much handled the situation, and then the fire department comes, and then we have to send the resident a bill. And they get very unhappy because sometimes they're in the ambulance already. In Ira Township, they are first responder, but their fire department, they tell me, is staffed, ready to go 24/7. So if we did this in Ira, they said it wouldn't save us any money because they already have people on staff, and their incentive is to continue it. But we're in negotiations with them also. So if Mr. Cook or Mr. Moore or anybody wants to speak to this, I'd be more than happy to listen.
And just for a Thank you, Supervisor Ruben. Just for a point of clarification, at the time, and Rob is here, who was chief at the time, in discussions with St. Clair County Dispatch, it came to our attention that we were not following what their written protocol was with respect to emergency dispatch. And I think we gave you a copy of the St. Clair County protocol for emergency dispatching. It was our understanding in talking to the St. Clair County Chiefs Association that all fire departments were responding to medical calls in accordance with this policy. And that was through St. Clair County Chiefs Association and in talking to them. We did become aware, and when we met with you in December, we did inform you that there isn't a state law requiring you to have fire department respond to medicals, and in talking to, I believe it's Mr. Cummings up at Emergency Medical Dispatch, that it is up to the townships. But it was kind of prior to that, our understanding that we were the only fire department not responding to medicals, and that we were the only ones not following this written protocol.
From St. Clair County.
From St. Clair County.
But in Macomb
does not have central dispatch, and so it's a little bit different animal. Each county has their own protocols, things like that. So, I understand where you're coming from, Bill, but I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that it wasn't something that we were just
No, they didn't pull it out of the air. I mean, they were being encouraged to do it, probably by dispatch. But I did talk with Mr. Conger, the director of dispatch. I read them. The two documents you have here tonight, the letter from 1996 and the new one, and he did not have a problem with it. So it's a doable thing. Obviously, Mr. White's in the center of things, but he did not believe there was a physical risk to the residents by doing it. I asked him that when he was here, I think it was last month or whenever he was here. I asked him that exact question, and he did not think so.
What was the reason for that change, for the increased need to have the firefighters respond to medical?
Well, I think Mr. Moore just kind of outlined it, that Central Dispatch from St. Clair County told him that all the fire departments were going to be first responders.
Yeah, but why?
I guess
why?
The
Yeah.
directive came from St. Clair County Medical Control Authority, who oversees the whole county as far as response. The directive come from them to establish this protocol, this EMD, if you will, Emergency Management Dispatch Protocol, to put it in their list of protocols for the county. This is how things are going to be run in St. Clair County. St. Clair County Medical Control Authority is the one that adopted this protocol, which all medically trained first responders and on up in the county follow the EMD protocol, or the medical control protocol. That's where the origin. It didn't come from Central Dispatch. It come from St. Clair County Medical Control Authority.
I thought was wondering if it was something like an industry driven.
And I think
it could be.
It's basically in their protocols, which I have right here. And just one of the lines says, the Advanced Medical Priority Dispatch Protocol shall be followed on all medical calls received by PSAPs in St. Clair County's 911 system. And that's what we went off of. That's what they were, as John explained, that's what they were saying. We weren't following, all other departments were. And so that's what we started following as of that date.
And in fairness to Mr. Rendell, when we talked about a year ago about the time this was taking place, and he said there was guideline changes and all that, he did say that, in fairness to you, that as far as he knew, the township still had the option of opting out of it. But like I said, at that time it was just starting, and we hadn't seen evidence of that many more runs. And it's hard to tell from the reports they send us how many are medical runs and how many are something else. And I didn't get, in January, I called Mr. Morris trying to get the numbers for our newsletter, and he gave me a pretty close number on total calls, but not medical breakdown, which I didn't get till last Thursday, the final numbers. So if we'd have known that that number was accelerating at that rate, we look a little harder. And the letter from the fire department to the county dispatch, I didn't see till last week. So now we are negotiating with Columbus, Richmond Township, and the city of Richmond on new contracts to extend our old one. And we've already discussed to some extent this situation, and we're going to try and remedy it if possible, that it doesn't have a large influence monetarily, because when you had that many calls and now you average it into 5 years, you're talking big bucks. Okay, and Mr. Moore is well aware, you know, of our concerns, and he's working on it, and we should be meeting hopefully next week with everybody.
I'd like to, when Jeff White was here last time, we asked him, when are the, like when the firefighters show up, how many, like what percentage of your calls are the extra hands helpful? And, you know, like removing a patient or what have you. And it was fairly substantial, I thought. He said something like 40% of the time. If EMS goes out alone, and then they run into a case, say, you know, they have a patient in a really kind of a tough location to move them down, they're on the horn calling you guys saying, hey, we need some extra hands.
They're either having to call us or they're having to call a second rig to get out here to assist them, which just takes another rig out of their coverage area. The other thing I want to point out too, to make sure that you understand, is when we talk about running on medicals, we talk about only life-threatening medicals, people not breathing, heart attacks, things of that nature, not somebody cut their finger, broken leg, things like that. Those aren't the kind of medicals that we are looking to run on, or that we bet, and it's in here basically life-threatening. We talk about persons not breathing, chest pains, heart attacks, strokes, severe respiratory problems, seizures, trauma, major bleeding, you know, where it's severe. Those are the type of things that we gave the direction to St. Clair County Dispatch to dispatch us on. So I just want to clarify that it's not every medical that is in Casco Township that we run on. But yes, we, you know, and again, if they get out here, they need another hand, yes, they call us, and then, yes, then we're dispatched out here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And we automatically run on, obviously, any PI accidents, you know, fires, you know, things like that automatically, which is what's in our contract with Casco Township.
But the only problem we've been having is I send out all the medical runs to people that get them. And I'm getting people that are already in the ambulance, and you guys come, and I have to charge them.
Your report states there's no patient contact.
And I just got one that said no patient contact. With all conscience, I didn't bill that person.
Was it one of the runs? I mean, was it life-threatening?
Yes, heart attack.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they only run on the runs they say,
Right.
but unfortunately EMS gets them way before them and have a good patient contact and stuff. No, they don't run when they don't, you know.
And it depends on circumstances, you know. I'll give you a
Yeah.
couple. You know, if Richmond Lennox has 3 ambulances out, which is the case a lot
Right.
of times,
Then you're the ones that
then
thank you.
You know, we're the ones there. Or if they
Right.
have, you got to realize, if they have their stations 1, 2, and 3. If they have station 1 and station 3 ambulance out, which are the closest ones to your
Right.
area, they have to come from School Section Road to get back out here to your township. So those are things just to keep in mind, and then I just want to make sure that you and your residents are aware of.
Well, what percentage of the calls you think that you guys show up first versus EMS?
It would be hard to say, but I would say in most cases probably Richmond Lennox does beat us out here by a short period of time, just depending on the locations,
Right.
things like that, the time of day, different things like that. So it's you know, I'd say you know, there's a good percentage that they do beat us out here because they are staffed, but we have guys that are within a block of our station. We get a unit on the road pretty.
I live on St. Clair Highway, and I'll sometimes see your guys go down the road like when their cars and then the EMS or you know whatever. But yeah, you're not far behind.
Well, I can tell you, I travel St. Clair Highway every day to and from work, so I've hit some calls, you know, that have went out that I've been there, you know, right away. So, and again, you know, it's a hit and miss thing, like with anything medical, you know, or you know, any call that you would get.
I mean, Richmond Fire Department, you guys give us excellent service
Yeah.
here in the township.
Thank you, we try, we
I
do our
totally
best.
agree
and-
with that.
Yeah.
Nobody has
It's
any
important
problems
to
with the
us.
service we get
No.
from the fire department. They do a great job.
Right.
It comes down to a matter of cost, basically, and, benefit, cost benefit. Sure, there's better to have 4 people than 2, but when the head of EMS tells you that there is no, in his opinion, there is no difference in the probability of problems with health of the residents, the way Richmond Township's doing it or the way we're doing it, then, if he said, yeah, there's a difference, well, he doesn't say that.
Well, all I'll say to you is, again, the residents is this: what's a life worth? And that's if we save one life, to me, we've paid for it, and that's where I'll leave it. And that's your citizens and your call on how you want to handle it, and we'll abide by it accordingly.
Understand?
And they don't get charged much.
Well, that's
$50 for a
$50,
run.
so that's let's say $50.
And they're having,
And
and believe me, they go irate on me.
Well, I want you to understand is, and again, it's until it's your emergency. A lot of times,
Right.
it's
Yeah, I
you
totally
don't.
agree.
That $50 is a lot, and I know in today's a lot of people are on hard times.
Right.
$50, but again, what's a life worth? But if you save that one life, and so that's what you're. So it's again, it's up to your township and you guys to decide what is best for you, and go from there.
Except, I think Columbus, I'm not sure, but I think Columbus Township charges 100. But that just makes it harder when the ambulance is pulling out of the driveway when you guys are coming in.
And I'm not gonna tell you that it doesn't happen sometimes, it does, and sometimes there's, where we're there, so it's, that's your, that's just a chance that, or, that's, you take, and sometimes it works that way, and sometimes, we provide a good service, so.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or anything?
Is that, I mean, how much does it save us over?
I would estimate, because we've only been in it for now a year, but we only have the numbers for 8 months, probably $10,000 a year.
$10,000 a year save us?
Now, it depends on, and I'm estimating that on like 60 to 70 calls, because in the 8 months we got 48. It depends how much of the $50 we get back. Because if they don't pay us, we send it to a collection agency, then we get half of that. And some people are never going to pay anybody. So Pat looked at it a little bit, and we're going to be looking at it harder before we meet next week. But it's really hard to get a number because we don't separate them, and we charge $250 for a fire.
Right.
So you can't just look, well, here's the number runs, here's the money. No, it doesn't break down that way.
Yeah.
And how many you're going to pay it back.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to know, is there, when it costs, when protection of our residents, is there a difference? Does that make a difference with them?
Well, it's gonna make a difference with, they're still covered, no matter which way we go it. EMS, on all the runs that I've been doing, they've been there maybe just a hair ahead of them, some of them a little more, but they're still covered.
Anyway,
They still got EMS there, and the fire department.
from '96 until last April,
Right,
we did it a certain way.
you did it the other way.
Did you hear any complaints that
No.
anybody said?
I can't say that I had.
It would have been a different story if that would have happened. Well, since last April till maybe tomorrow, we've done it the other way. Okay. And is it better? Yeah, but it's very expensive. And I don't know. I don't see a big enough benefit. I mean, dispatch still going to send them out, on the personal injury, and it depends. They have key questions when you call into 911. And there's certain, if you say certain things, they're going to send them anyway.
Right.
Okay. But I don't know. I just I don't see the justification at this time to do it. so that's why I would recommend that we would approve this letter that was in your packet under 3A.
I make a motion to approve the letter to be sent to the people as listed on this letter.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported to approve the letter to be sent to the St. Clair County Dispatch and all the other names CC'd at the bottom. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Item B was, and we've already touched on a lot of this stuff, so it's not much. That's just the update. We're currently in the negotiations. We're going to be with Richmond and Columbus and Richmond Township. I've also met with Ira Township, and hopefully we can move along on that because our contract's been expired since last June. And we'll see what we can keep going on that and see how to address, you know, the added number of runs to minimize their financial repercussions over a 5-year period. So, any questions on those two contracts? You have a copy of the contracts in your pack. And I did give Mr. Moore a copy of our IRA contract last year, so he knows what's going on over there. It's all public information, so. Okay, anything else, Mr. Cook, or anything?
Sure.
You know, like I say, we really appreciate the work you do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but, you know, it does come down to money. And it doesn't mean it can't be revisited. There's a possibility, maybe when we all meet, we'll go to a different formula. But it costs, like I told Mr. Moore, it costs you guys money every time the truck pulls out, you know, and that has to be passed along one way or the other. And I fully understand that. Nobody wants anything for free. But
I have a question. Richmond Fire Department, how many members are on it?
We have basically 25 full-time members, and then we have some about 8 to 10 active reserves.
When you say full-time, I mean, do they work?
What we call regular members that are
call.
basically on call, that take calls at all times a day. We've had, you know, their full training and can basically attend any run that they go, that pretty much goes.
So they live right and work right here in the community, and they're able to.
Yes, a percentage of them do, not all, but yes, a percentage of them do, so that we have, you know, we have people to man the trucks around the clock.
Okay. I know a few years ago, my neighbor's minivan was on fire. You guys were probably tied up somewhere because St. Clair came up, and the house was right at the corner of Church Road and St. Clair Highway. I never saw a vehicle stop that fast, a pumper truck. I mean, they had the fire out in a heartbeat, but to see that big of a vehicle going that fast, stop that quickly, that was amazing. So.
okay, moving on. Item C, St. Clair County drain, Pelton drain off. In your packet, we have a list of currently the only drain we're paying on. We put money in the budget to cover this, and now that we're and that's for the new fiscal year, which started yesterday. And so technically we could just pay it out of the budget, but I figured I'd put it on the agenda. And we currently owe $8,532, plus there's probably some interest that has accrued since January 1. And I just like a motion from the board, that everybody's aware that we're gonna pay that drain off.
I so moved.
Support.
Moved and supported to utilize the budget to pay off the Pelton drain.
How much will that save us in interest?
Well, 10% would be about $400 a year.
Okay.
So, but we paid off a huge amount. We paid off $60,000 last year.
Right.
So, for a matter of weeks anyway, we'll be all paid up until they do some work on some of the drains. Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Next item is the contract for our network, from Network Computers. It's a maintenance contract and keeping them repaired and up to date. I put in your packet, in your update there, that I believe it was 27 calls in the last year. They do a very good job, and whenever you ask them to do something, I'm more than happy to do it. The cost is, even though it's expensive, it's $3,000 a year for 27 visits. You couldn't get anybody else to come out for $100 a visit, let alone do anything.
Is the contract goes from 1 April to 31 March, I take it?
Yeah.
Okay. And
So it's the recommendation that we approve this contract for this year.
I make a motion to approve our contract with Network Computers.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion?
You want to put the annual amount in your motion?
Yes.
$3,000 is the service contract.
Okay, any discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Okay, the next item is, as we've wrapped up our fiscal year, is the final budget amendments, because you can't end the year with anything in the red. And in front of you have a list. There's a couple, most are really small, there's a couple big ones. We lost a couple tax tribunals. We didn't lose them, but when we mediated down to an agreement, that cost us a lot of money, and it was, we had 2 elections last year that cost us a lot of money. So, I don't know, do you have a total amount on here, Patty, or not? I know it's
Yeah,
like,
right here. The total amount for the general ledger will be $12,027.61, and that will come out of our attorney fees because we have money left in it.
That's great.
And after we deduct that amount, then in the attorney fees, we'll have $10,569. The others are pretty much, you know, we had to raise the revenues in for our liquor inspector. So we pulled the fund balance out of the money we have saved and raised the revenue of $51. So it'll balance out. Any questions?
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
I move to approve the changes in the budget, the amendments in the budget as detailed in the list of changes for,
I'll support.
okay, moved and supported to make the budget amendments as outlined in 3E. Any discussion on that? We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Dan.
support, yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Pat. Yes.
Aye.
Colleen.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Item F, resolution 2013-08. And this involves a ordinance, a zoning ordinance change. And I gave you all a copy of the ordinance. County planning, we sent it to them for their review. And hopefully you'll like it enough that we can take action on it and put this thing to bed. Basically what it is we had very small, I thought it was small, square footage allowed for built-on garages and accessory buildings in the side yard. That size has been increased from 900 to 1,500 square feet, and that only applies to the portion of the building that's in the side yard or attached to the house in front of the rear yard.
It's about time.
And if the building continues into the back, once it gets behind the house, it doesn't apply to that square footage.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2013-08.
Support,
Would you change that to ordinance, not resolution?
Oh,
No, it's resolution.
It is a
Resolution
resolution?
is changing ordinance.
Oh, you're right.
Okay.
I'm wrong.
Moved and supported to adopt resolution 2013-08. Any discussion on this? We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Dan?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Pat, yes. Bill?
Aye.
And Colleen?
Yes.
Okay, well, that went quicker than I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Okay,
we've talked about it forever.
Item G, we had a road tour with the road commission yesterday, and they're gonna be paving on Palms Road this year, and they wanna know if we wanna extend the aprons on Puttigat Road and Adair Road. They're currently 25 feet, and they wanna know if we wanna increase it 50 feet. Now, we don't have firm costs, but I asked the foreman yesterday, and I believe he said that to do both sides of each intersection would be $8,500, probably. He didn't have it in writing. So that would be a total cost of $17,000 for that. If you're interested, I can wait and get hard numbers for you and come back. And that's a lot of money.
Aprons on both sides of the road,
Yeah,
Adair and Puttigat?
Yeah, they're currently 25 feet. They want to know if we want them extended to 75.
And what would be the purpose? How would it?
Well, you know, you pull off a paved road, when you get to the end of the apron, there's always a hole. Well, you'd still have the hole, but it'd be further away
You're
from the
just,
road.
yeah, you're just moving the hole down there.
Get going
Yeah.
faster before you.
Well,
Well, that's basically it,
The
right?
idea
No,
of
but
the-
if we keep doing this, well,
Well,
pretty
yeah.
soon we'll have a paved road.
Yeah, that
Well,
is
the
it.
idea of the apron is your final moment of stopping, you're on a hard surface. Okay, the 25 feet kind of does
It's
that.
supposed to be safer.
Well, if it's not icy, maybe.
I
But-
know, like the east side of the Adair Road, you're coming down a slight incline.
Off Palms,
Yeah.
I think it's actually going uphill, that's the cemetery right there.
Right. I mean, yeah, you're on Adair
Oh,
Road,
yeah.
you come down the Palms, you're on a downhill.
So, I don't know, it's very costly for the,
I,
you know, and
I don't
they're
know.
not high mileage roads, especially Adair Road.
No.
But if you want the numbers, you want to revisit it, be more than happy to do
We're gonna
that.
extend aprons, we ought to do it on the overpasses. Keep those,
yeah.
keep those,
Okay, hearing no activity, we're gonna move on.
Okay.
Payment of the bills.
Any questions? On the bill?
Yeah, the very first one.
For Colleen?
Yeah.
What happened was, Colleen, I sent the money for her pension, and for some reason, they didn't have the right information and sent me her check back, and I had to reissue it and put the money back into our general ledger, and then resend another check to them. That's what that is. Any other?
Yep. That's it.
Then I make a motion to pay the bill.
Support?
Moved and supported to pay the bills. Any discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Yep. Colleen?
yes.
Bill?
Aye.
Pat? Yes. Joe?
Yes.
And Dave?
Yes.
Okay, we're up to citizens' comments. Anybody who would like to ask questions or address the board, now's your opportunity. We request you give us your name, but it's not absolutely necessary.
May not answer if you don't. I'm just kidding.
I would like, if there's, does anyone want to add anything? The plan commission, since we're not going to have to deal with the golf course issue and that, we've asked our planner to look at the Adair area of redoing some of the setbacks and other performance standards there to kind of facilitate growth in that area. Because right now, when people do building or renovation in Adair, they have to get sometimes multiple variances in order to get a project complete. So we're gonna have our planner look at it, revisit our ordinance, and see what we can do to kind of like facilitate this little
And St.
village.
Clair Highway?
Yeah, St. Clair
Or the
Highway.
business district in Adair.
Oh, oh dear.
Well, the thing is, the old businesses there are about 10 to 20 feet off the road.
Yeah.
Our current ordinance says your setback's 140. Now, what are you gonna do? You either gotta get a whole boatload of variances, or let's think about changing the ordinance in that business district, so you can kind of blend in. So our planner's gonna give us a cost estimate of what it would cost us to do that, because that, you have to get into a bunch of things. It isn't just setbacks.
Okay.
It's a lot of things. Anybody else under citizen comments? I guess I'd just like to mention that speaking of Adair, the Sucker Fest is May the 5th. And that's a pretty good event. They raise money for the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Fire department's there. Doing a great job, I might add. And anybody else? Nothing else under comments?
I appreciate your updates, the expenditure reports, and the wealth of information you give us.
We
And
do
we're
our
not-
best.
Trustees, well, as trustees aren't in the office,
Yeah.
it gives us a real picture of what's going on. That's
You're
much,
right.
It's just mayhem,
Good
basically.
job.
Okay,
No, it's
we are
good.
up to adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. All those in favor? We
Aye.
stand adjourned.
And it-
Ooh, it's only 59.